Hi everybody, this is Mr. Blanco, and this is not a choir check-in of the day. This is the interview that I talked to you guys about a little bit. I have here Miss Angela Brower. I'm going to put some... This is our professional opera singer that has agreed graciously to be able to talk to you guys today a little bit about what it is to be an opera singer and just a little bit about her journey and how it kind of relates to you guys. And so before we start though, I do want to give just a little bit of an introduction to Miss Angela Brower and her amazingness. So Angela, actually, she was born and raised in Arizona, isn't that right? That's
Not born, but raised.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something that I didn't know. Raised in Arizona, that's actually where me and her met. And she went to ASU, studied at ASU, and then went to Indiana University shortly thereafter, and then joined up what is called the Young Artist Program and moved to Munich, Germany. And she has been living there for the last 12 years. And since she's been there, she's been singing around the world in places like Paris and in Berlin and San Francisco. And most recently, she actually had her Met debut, right? The Met Opera in New York. That she was playing in Der Rosenkavalier.
Good job.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That I'm sure that was incredible that we can talk about that. But yeah, she's had a lot of different principal roles, like in Così fan tutte, and there's another one that I know that you were really famous for, but we can talk about that a little bit later. But she's had a really great career so far, and we're so lucky to have her to be able to talk to you guys today. So let's dive right in, shall we? One of the questions that one of our students asked is, what is it like to be an opera singer, and is it hard to do opera all the time?
So let me just define what an opera singer is. So an opera singer is somebody who sings on stage, particularly classical music, without a microphone. So we go to school for many, many, many years to learn a specific technique where we can amplify our sound over a 100 plus piece orchestra into a, anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 seat auditorium. We would call it a theater.
Wow.
And so that's what an opera singer does. So that's very different than somebody who sings on Broadway because they use a microphone. And that's why when you hear an opera singer sing, you hear a lot of vibrato because we are using the energy of our body, which is your vibrato, to really amplify our sound. That's why it's all, that's the difference. But so, yeah. Is it difficult to be an opera singer? I think it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of training. And there are aspects which are difficult. Like it's exhausting. It's like it's playing a sport. It's like running. It's like you're using your whole body. And you guys know this from singing in choir. Like it's a physical activity. So not only are we singing as opera singers, but we're also acting in, an opera, which is basically a play that has been set to music. And so those operas can run anywhere from like 2 hours to 5 hours sometimes. Wow. So you have to have a lot of stamina. But it's so much fun. Yeah. So it's not an easy job, but it's something that you have to really want to do. And I'm thrilled by singing on stage, and it gives me a sense of just joy. And so all the difficult things about it make it worth it.
Definitely. I can see that. Could you go over exactly when you are in a production? so like being an opera singer and you're actually in a production, what is like a day in the life of being in a production of opera? Like, what is your day taken up with? What do you actually do while you're working on different things? What kind of a schedule do you usually have for yourself?
That's a great question because it totally differs from day to day. So if we're in a production and we're putting something on, so like we have, we're in rehearsals. Usually what happens is we'll rehearse from anywhere from 6 to 8 hours a day. And we'll have, if you're working in America, you'll have like an hour break for lunch, and you'll just do a straight 6 hours. So 3 hours lunch break, 3 hours. In Germany and most places in Europe, you'll have 3 hours in the morning and then have like a 4 hour break, and then 3 hours in the evening.
Wow.
And in that time, you will have already done all of the preparation, meaning have all your music memorized and have all of your foreign language that you're singing completely as authentic as possible. So yeah, I should mention an opera singer sings in foreign languages, but I just figured you guys knew that. But and our goal, a lot of the time that we spend perfecting our craft, is making sure we are sounding just like a native speaker as we sing.
Wow.
And a lot of times I'm not speaking fluently the language that I'm singing in, and so I hire a language coach, and that he or she helps me with the pronunciation. So yeah, so our day just differs, and we get the rehearsal schedule like a day before, and we just have to kind of live like day by day because rehearsals, change, so you can't really plan. You have like a general plan, but then if something doesn't get completed, because we're people, not machines, then they have to adjust the schedule for the next day. So you always have to make sure you're on call or on your phone, make sure you're ready if you are called into a rehearsal. Yeah, but we'll do staging rehearsals, meaning we're going to walk the staging of the actual staging of the scenes and act them out and sing them. And we also have musical rehearsals with the conductor and our other colleagues. Then we have like orchestra rehearsals, and then we have our full-on dress rehearsals, and then we're in production. So there's various stages, so it just kind of differs.
Yeah. So within production, how much time do you say that you would actually spend in production for a performance?
It depends. We have, like, if it's a new production, so say we're taking an opera that Mozart composed back in 1700s, right?
Okay.
A good example is an opera called Così fan tutte, where I would sing
Dorabella, right?
I would sing Dorabella. That's like a signature role of mine, where it's a story of two sisters and they have two lovers, and the lovers go off and try to they are trying to test their faithfulness, these girls' faithfulnesses. And so they come back as different people and they try to seduce them. So it's a very interesting, fun kind of comedy, tragic comedy, because they trick the girls. But if it's a new production, so the music is the same, because Mozart wrote this piece a long time ago, but a new production means new costumes, new set design, new stage direction. A conductor comes in, and within Mozart, you can do little ornamentations, which are new, and just kind of make the piece your own, which is kind of fun and exciting. And I just did that show. I just did that opera in Amsterdam in the fall, and they had it set to like a modern campground. And it was kind of cool because we weren't in these like old costumes. We were in like modern, like swimwear, and like we had sand, like we were going to the beach. Like, so it's really fun. You can do a lot of fun things with opera.
That's neat. How long were you in production for that one?
That was a long time. We were in rehearsals for 7 weeks, and then we did a couple of shows, which took a couple of weeks.
Okay,
we don't do shows every day.
Right.
Because we have to have a day or two to rest, because we're not amplified. So it's different than like a Broadway performer, where they do what, like 8 shows a week,
Mm.
we have to completely rest the instrument. So we have to have at least a day in between our shows. So they have to be spread out sometimes through like weeks. So yeah, I was in Amsterdam for like over 2 months. It was fun.
So a long production time is 7 weeks for you.
That's a long production. Usually it's 6 weeks. But
That's hilarious.
Depends. So that's for a new production. If it's like a repertoire piece, meaning they're just like taking it out of the file cabinet and they're like, we've done this before.
Right.
Then in Germany in particular, they'll give you a DVD and they're like, watch the DVD and write down in your own score all the staging notes. So when you come to the first rehearsal, not only do you have the music memorized, but you have your staging memorized because they throw it together sometimes in 3 days, 3 to 5 days.
Wow.
And like, you're on stage and you don't get any stage time. It's all rehearsed within like a rehearsal space. And then your first time on the like original set is the first performance. And you're just like, okay, here we go.
That's incredible.
It's intense.
Oh, wow. That definitely is high stress, and I'm sure that you get excited in those moments.
It's crazy. It's fun.
Okay, so another student talked about, and we talked a little bit about that in the last question, but how do you train to become an opera singer? And let's specifically talk about like what kind of training that you did in high school and post high school.
Okay, so you guys, I feel like I can relate to you because I loved choir. I loved choir so much. And that's where I found my voice. So I started singing in junior high. I think I was like 14. And I started doing the musicals and I was like, I'm going to be a musical theater person and I'm just going to sing. And I had so much fun. We went on choir tours, went to Disneyland, went to Vegas. Like we did the competitions. I was really not good at sight reading and that always held me back, but I always got really high marks on the like solo part. So I got into All-State and it was so fun. But that's where I learned how to be musical. And I had taken piano lessons and had grown up with like amateur music within my home, but I wouldn't call myself a pianist by any means. I just had very basic piano skills and like basic music reading skills. So when I started taking voice lessons when I was like seriously, like at 16, and I was taking from the wife of a professor at Arizona State, and she said, why don't you, when I was graduating from high school, I was like 17, and she's like, why don't you audition for Arizona State? And while I had taken voice lessons from her, she had kind of introduced me to, some of the songs in the 24 arias. What's that book called? The art song arias.
24 top hits is what we call it.
The top hits, right? So I was singing, all these things that I can't remember anymore, but the basic simple stuff, which is still good stuff to be singing. I should probably open that book again while I'm in quarantine and just like, it's all good stuff to learn. And I just I didn't know opera. I didn't know anything about opera. My parents don't know, I didn't grow up with opera at all. And I just thought opera was for like people who couldn't make it in the music theater world. And I was definitely going to make it. But then the more I sang, the more I realized that my natural voice was a little more keen to sing classically. I couldn't really get a good belt. I didn't know how to, it didn't come naturally to me, and I didn't have a teacher that was teaching me how to belt. And I'm grateful for that because that can hurt you if you don't know how to do it correctly. So I was grateful that I had a teacher who just really kind of helped me nurture my personal sound, which ended up just being, a little more set towards singing Mozart and other classical composers, which I had to be introduced to once I got into college. So, I mean, I'm a late bloomer. I did not have my eyes set on having a career or this is what I'm going to do. Like some of my colleagues that I work with, they knew when they were 6 years old and they were going to be an opera singer. And I wouldn't even know what opera was at that age. I definitely had to discover what opera as a genre was and to start to appreciate it and love it. And so that's kind of my journey. So what was the question? I think I diverted a little bit.
Oh, how to train. But I think
How to
that's a really, really good background to exactly kind of your journey of going towards that career. A
Yeah.
lot of different steps were put in your way, it looks like.
The best way to train is to work with a professional teacher. And yeah, he or she can introduce you to the repertoire and help you sing healthfully, because there's a specific technique that you have to learn in order to amplify your voice over, like I said, an orchestra and fill an entire opera hall or concert hall.
Which is
So,
amazing.
which is amazing, you guys. The coolest thing about singing like that, I guess classical singing, is that you realize what the human body is able to do. It is really, you really can compare it to an Olympic athlete, because it takes years of training and discipline, and you have to be so healthy. You have to, like, in order to be, in order to hit the high C or high D or whatever you're trying to hit, you've got to really temper your body to be able to have the stamina and the vocal health and the muscular ability to do that. And that takes training. So it is quite impressive what the human voice can do.
So this is really a good lead to the next question. But one of our students also asked, when did you decide to fulfill a music career in opera?
So that kind of came, like I said, I'm a late bloomer. It came later. I was singing, singing kind of just came easily to me. Learning opera, the technique to sing opera, it was hard. But I had like a natural voice, which I'm sure many of you do if you're singing in choir. You have a beautiful natural voice. So I was intrigued by learning technique and learning what I could do and how I could manipulate my face, and like how that would help to like project this amazing sound. But I didn't really see myself as having a career. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I thought I just would continue my education and then maybe teach, because I really loved teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still intrigued by everything about the voice and what we could do with the voice. And mastering my own technique just took a little more time. But when I was at grad school in Indiana, I was doing like a apprentice program. They called a young artist program in upstate New York for the summer. And my voice teacher encouraged me to do that, because that's how we get experience. In order to, when you graduate, get a job, you need to have a bit of stage experience, and I didn't have that much. And so I was there, and two representatives from the Munich Bavarian State Opera came and heard me and offered me a position in the Young Artist Program here. And that's when I guess I took the leap and said, okay, I'll try this out. And I asked all my professors if I should go, because I hadn't finished my degree yet. And I was like a year shy of finishing my master's. And everybody I talked to said, you got to get out of here. This is why you go to school. You're offered a job now. Like, this is big deal, and it's overseas. And I'm so glad I did. So that's kind of the big leap that I took, not knowing what I was getting myself into. Like, if I'm quite honest, I was so naive, but I learned so much more just by doing it, other than studying it at school. It just became what I love doing. I've always loved singing on stage, and in high school I did like music theater and community theater and stuff like that. So I always loved the thrill of singing on stage, and so this was my platform. Like, I learned that this is what my voice was able to do, and here was my chance to sing like for 1,500 people every night. And I'm like, sweet, let's do it. And to sing with the power of an orchestra, like, that was thrilling to me. So I guess I was kind of drawn to it without looking for it. It came to me, and maybe that was the law of attraction. I don't know. Like, it just kind of, it happened that way.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it took a big risk, I'm sure, but it panned out, and you've had some great experiences, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
I think we're just about out of time. So I guess, what do you have any ending thoughts for any of our students who are thinking about actually doing a career in music and singing as well?
I would say find your voice. Find the uniqueness of you.
Okay.
And accept that and love that and nurture that. And don't try to imitate anybody else or try to have anybody else's path or journey. Everybody has their own journey. There is not one way to have a music career, or there's not one way to live in general. Like, everybody has a different way, and accept and embrace your uniqueness and cultivate that, and never forget what makes you special, because you all have something so special and you all have a beautiful story to tell. And this is what's so wonderful about even opera. I used to think, oh, opera is so boring. It's like old music and nobody cares and it's in a foreign language. Once you get into it, you realize, oh, wait, even though this person sang this role like a million years ago, I get to sing this role now. And I think she's kind of cool and I can modernize her. And how would Angela Brower play this role? And we're in a modern time now. Like, we get to make whatever genre of music you go into. You respect the style, you respect the integrity of the piece, but you make it your own. And it's your job to tell the story, and you have a unique story to tell. So embrace that and remember that.
Awesome. Wise words. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, Angela, and for the stuff that you talked to our kids about. This is going to be really, really good stuff, and we appreciate you being here.
You're welcome. And visit my Facebook page if you want to see me sing some like Mary Poppins songs and some like crossover stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I will. I'll put a link to your Facebook in the description. How's that?
Yeah. And please ask me any questions. Do you guys have more questions? Message me on Facebook, because I'm an open book and I'm here to help you guys.
All right. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye. See you.